What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back for another episode of Believe in Cowboys. And you can catch us wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and on the Believe Network. I keep telling y'all, make me a part of your everyday life. Put me in the group chat. Say, Mom, Dad, brother, sister, the girl chat, the boy chat, the small group chat. We gotta watch Jesse on Believe in Cowboys. Put him in there. He's on. Hit the notification, hit the like button, hit all those things so that you do not miss an episode of me and you talking about the Cowboys. But before we get into the show, let me tell you about my friends at BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. For the earliest odds and in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and all the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment and political props. Make sure you go out and vote. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Talk about drama. Drama as the Cowboy worlds turn. It is currently in the DFW area where I am located. It is raining right now, and that is indicative of the Cowboys and the Cowboys season. When it rains, it pours. The Cowboys lose their third game in a row, 27-21 to the Atlanta Falcons in the ATL. And trust me, this score was not indicative of the game. At no point in time, if you watch the game like I watched the game, did you feel that Atlanta was in danger of losing this football game? At no point in time. But I don't want to bury the lead. Before we get to the actual game, if you watch the game that you know, late in that game, QB1 Dak Prescott went out of that game with an apparent hamstring injury. Well, reports came out. And it is worse than what some people in the organization say they thought it would be. Dak Prescott is ruled basically out for multiple weeks with a severe hamstring injury. The weeks have not come out just yet, but from what I'm hearing from being around the building today, that we're looking more of the 4 to 6 to 8 weeks on this hamstring. What a blow. The Cowboys have been hit by the injury bug this year, dating all the way back to training camp. Remember, they lost Sam Williams to an ACL. They lost Marshawn Nealon, and then they had Deron Bland. They had lost him, and he still hasn't gotten back yet. And then from there, you lost Brandon Cooks had gotten hurt. Then you had Eric Kendricks get hurt, and then you had Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence. They both have gotten hurt. Kalen Carson has gotten hurt. And now you add probably the one piece that you could not afford to have injured. Dak Prescott went down in the game, and he said he felt something pull in his hamstring that he never pulled before. Boy, when it rains, it pours. In addition to Dak Prescott, if you watched the game, you saw CeeDee Lamb. He landed on his right shoulder, and reports from that MRI said that it is not bad as people thought it would be, but he would be week to week with his prognosis and his recovery. So will CeeDee Lamb play against Philadelphia Eagles? Probably not, leaning towards that. But you saw his toughness and you saw his ability to keep playing under those circumstances. And so we'll see about that. And so those are two huge – I mean, those are your two biggest stars offensively. We went into every single game this year really talking about if the Cowboys had a chance to win the game, it was going to be on the shoulder of Dak Prescott and on the legs and hands of CeeDee Lamb. It was Dak Prescott, CeeDee, and them. It wasn't – you didn't even name the rest of them. It's Dak, CeeDee, and them. That was the rest of the group, and them. And with both of those guys being out for at least the next week, Dak Prescott probably for multiple weeks, CeeDee Lamb, depending on how his recovery and his pain tolerance could be multiple weeks. And the Cowboys are getting ready to face a stretch. You got Philadelphia, followed by Houston, I believe Washington, and then the Giants. I may be jumbling that, but I think that's the next three. It's Philly, Houston, Washington. So you're talking about two division games right there, and you're already on a 3-game losing streak, and there's no hope in sight that you may actually be able to put something together that gives you any remnants or any sort of ability to win a football game. And I know a lot of you are going to say, but Cooper Rush, when Dak was out last time, Cooper Rush went 5-1. He's 5-1 in his career. Those teams were different. Those teams had a good, healthy offensive line. Those lines back then had Tyron Smith was in there, and Zach Martin was in there, and I mean, they had some good players on that offensive line. You had good Zeke, and we'll get into the Zeke situation, but you had good Zeke in that line. You had, I believe you might even had Amari and CD in that complement. And I mean, and the defense was turning the ball over at a rapid rate. They were getting pressures, getting sacks, getting turnovers. It ain't the same football team. So, and I say all that, and then Cooper Rush will probably go out there and win 4 games in a row, and then we'll really have a quarterback controversy. That won't happen because you pay the man already number 4. You pay him $60 million a year. So it won't be no quarterback controversy if he happens to do that. But, this team is really, really, really bad right now. And to add worse things to the matter, heading into this game against the Atlanta Falcons, Ezekiel Elliot, and I don't know if he was a starting running back, but he was in the running back by committee conversation. Excuse me. He did not travel. He was a healthy scratch for disciplinary reasons. There's so much to pack in this whole Zeke Elliott situation. Reports came out that Zeke Elliott was disciplined by Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys because he was habitually late. He was a distraction. He was late to team meetings and to other things in the facility, and they thought it was best that he be a healthy scratch and not travel with the team. And I know that just sounds like minuscule, and it was a mutual agreement. I've also heard from my sources in the building that in addition to the habitual lateness to multiple team functions, that there was what words do I want to use? There was an argument. Let's say an argument. There were some words that was exchanged when Zeke found out that he wasn't going to be either the third string or not active this week. And so, to not go on a trip, when the Cowboys is an organization under Mike McCarthy where they travel everybody, practice squad guys included, 17 guys on the practice squad travel to these games. They make it a real team camaraderie on the road. And for Zeke to not travel says a lot. Like, that basically says we don't want you around the team. For you not to travel. It's one thing to have a disagreement and you not you not play. But to not travel with the team says that this thing has gotten way, way, way out of hand with Zeke and the Cowboys. And I kind of want to rewind and kind of put together a timeline of how this thing could have possibly gone so wrong in the last couple of months. Well, this is just my theory. This is Jesse Holley's theory. There's some things that I know to be factual. There's some things that I'm theorizing. When Zeke was signed back to this thing, I don't believe that it was a Mike McCarthy thing who wanted Zeke back on this team. I think he wanted to go forward with the guy. I think Mike McCarthy actually wanted to keep Tony Pollard on this football team. But those in the front office, they didn't want to pay running backs, and Tony Pollard was requesting a price that they just feel like they didn't want to pay anymore for running backs. Cool. But I think when Zeke came back to this football team, and if you know anything about this organization, you know high-profile players are handled by Jerry Jones. If you're a high-profile player and you are a part of the Cowboys organization, you were more hands-on and kind of handled more by Jerry and Steven and the people upstairs. And then the mid-level to the Jesse Hollies of the world, you kind of get more so handled by the coaches. You can just see how certain things are played out within that team structure. So I think when Zeke had signed back with the Cowboys, there may have been a conversation between Zeke and maybe his agent and Jerry Jones about his role on this football team. And I think that the role that Jerry Jones may have projected to Zeke may not be the same thing that Mike McCarthy had in plans for Zeke. And so Jerry may have promised some things, and Mike McCarthy may have had his thoughts about how he wanted to run things. And then there's never really a true cohesion between what Jerry wants and what Mike McCarthy wants. You can hear, by the way, they talk about these things in the media. You know, Mike McCarthy wants to be a little bit more tight-lipped on, injuries and things that happen in the building. And Jerry gets on his radio show twice a week and he just tells the world different things when you probably don't have to tell the world certain things. So you get in here, and I think they also believe that Zeke would be one of those guys who would be a great mentor in the locker room, a great practice guy, show some of these younger players how and what it looks like to be a professional athlete in the National Football League. But I also believe in the heart of hearts, as someone who's a former athlete and played in this league, sometimes you can look around at your competition and go, yeah, I know what they say about him, but I feel like I'm better than him. And remember, the last time Zeke was a part of this Cowboys football team, Rico was his backup. Rico was the backup to the backup, right? It was Zeke, Tony Pollard, then Rico. And, of course, Rico had the injuries and so on and so forth. So he had a little bit of an issue with staying healthy. So Zeke comes here and he's probably saying to himself, we might split carries, but I may believe that I might be better than this guy. Again, none of that may not be true. This is my theory about how this whole concept came about. And then you get in training camp and things are happening and they're kind of not practicing Zeke all the time and playing Zeke all the time, which a veteran guy loves that. Hey, listen, I've been in this league for a long time. I don't need to practice that much. I'll be ready for the regular season. And things begin to happen in the regular season, and it may not be to Zeke liking. Now, I'll say this when it comes to Zeke. For Zeke, athletes we are the last persons to really, truly know we just ain't got it no more. We're the last ones to know. Because somewhere in our mind and our heart, we still believe that, man, if this and that, I can still go get this. But in our minds, we believe that we can still go get it. And we're the last ones to truly find out you just ain't got it no more, dog. And I think that's where Zeke was at, where he thought that maybe he was better than what he actually was. And the guy maybe in front of him probably shouldn't be getting, or maybe he wanted more opportunities. And then you go and you sign Dalvin Cook, and he's on the practice squad and ramping up. And so all these emotions and these feelings and things are happening, and then the season is coming about, and things aren't going the way that you thought they should go. Things aren't working in your favor. And so now you show up late and you don't give as much effort and you don't care as much because things just aren't going in your favor. And the mental part of it, right? The psyche is that Zeke, his entire life, since he was playing Little League, Pop Warner, middle school, whatever, high school, college, pros, he was the best. He was the best. No one was ever telling him, no, we don't want you to play. Everyone was saying, how can we get you to play more? Because we want you on the field. This is maybe the first time Zeke has ever had to feel the feeling of maybe not being wanted, maybe not being coveted as being the guy in his life. In his life, 20 plus years, he's been told that I am the guy. And now you're not. And the weird part about it is that for athletes, when we're the last one to know, when that drop off, it happens like that. One day you're arguably the best running back in the league, and then you blink, and now you're fighting for backup reps. And it happens to a lot of guys. Look at Zach Martin, for example. Zach Martin in his career with the Dallas Cowboys, Zach Martin at one time had more Pro Bowls than he had penalties. He had more Pro Bowls than he had penalties. And then, now you look at Zach Martin as immortal. He doesn't look superhuman anymore. He doesn't look as the picture of perfection at the guard spot in the National Football League. It happens that way. Father Time at times can be completely undefeated. And so now you have that Zeke drama going on, and CD's hurt, and Dak's hurt, and you cannot win a game. And I'm here to tell you guys, nothing's going to happen in the trade deadline. They're not doing anything. They're not going to be buyers. They're not going to be sellers. They're going to just stand packed, because to go and get somebody means we have to pour resources into them. And the reason that the Cowboys are in this situation that they're in right now is because the Joneses didn't want to pour resources into players in the offseason. They didn't want contracts that would cost them money next year. They wanted to recalibrate their salary cap. They wanted to hold on to draft picks, and they wanted to reset themselves for next year and beyond. This thing has been set up so that when they get into the prime years of that contract with CD and Dak, that they have a team to go with it, right? Money's going to have to be spent for Tank, who will probably either be cut and or retire. Same thing for Zach Martin. That'll go in the books that they pushed along the side. You're going to have to find money to pay Micah Parsons. So a lot of that money that they have in the salary cap right now, they will allocate those funds to guys and to situations next year. And then they'll just try to use all their draft picks and resources to try to revamp this thing a year from now. This year was never really ever set up. I don't know that he said all in, but all in wasn't for this year. It was an all in. We're going to do what we got to do so that we can go all in the future. But this year was never, ever in the works. Now, did he want to stay competitive? Did the Joneses want to stay competitive? Absolutely. For sure. 1,000%. But what you can account for is for the miscellaneous stuff. You can't account for guys tearing ACLs and Achilles, and guys going down with high ankle sprains, and guys going down with Liz Frank's injuries, and guys getting hamstring injuries. So you can't account for that. That's never accounted for. Nobody ever goes into a season and says, yep, boy, in week 7, it's week 8, my quarterback's going to pull his hamstring. Got to get ready for that. No one ever goes into the season for that. Everyone always goes into the season with the thought process and the positivity of everyone will stay healthy. And the Cowboys just haven't had that. Just flat out, this is a bad football team. Let me just give you some of the numbers about the Cowboys. The Cowboys give up the 6th most yards per game. They give up 365 yards per game. The Cowboys give up the 2nd most points per game. The Panthers give up 31 points a game. The Cowboys give up 28 points a game. The Cowboys give up the 3rd most rushing yards. They cannot stop a nosebleed. They give up 147 yards a game. The Cowboys are 27th in the league in takeaways. The Cowboys used to live in the top 5 in takeaways. They don't get them no more. To put this in perspective, the Falcons were 29th in pressure rate, and they were last in sack rate. The Falcons had 6 sacks on the season. Let me repeat myself. The Falcons had 6 total sacks on the season. They had 3 against the Cowboys. The Falcons were not able to generate pressure and get sacks. 6 sacks? The Cowboys had 6 sacks in their first game against the Browns. An entire season, half a season has gone by, and the Falcons had 6 total sacks. The Cowboys gave up 3 sacks in one game. The Cowboys offense has the worst success rate in the National Football League on first down. Meaning, on first down, collectively, the Cowboys, and what they deem success rate is that you are averaging more than like 4.5 yards on success rate than the last team in the league. The Cowboys are league low at 22% of rushing success rate on design runs on first down. The Cowboys can't rush on first down. They aren't successful on first down. So what does that mean? That means they spend a lot of their time in second and long and third and long. The Cowboys in this previous game against the Falcons, the first time since like 2000, 24 years ago, the Cowboys went 4 and out, turnover on downs. 4+ times in this game. Hadn't done that in 24 years. This team is not a good football team. It is undisciplined. It is incredibly undisciplined. 9 penalties, 7 pre-snap penalties, 12 men in the huddle. On defense, on a key third down in the game versus the Falcons, they only had 10 guys on the field on defense. On offense, on a key 4th and 1, you run a dumb jet sweep and don't block the defensive end. Tackle for loss, turnover on downs. You try to run a fake punt pass to a guy who was standing in front of, and for those of you who may have watched the game and was screaming at the top of your lungs, pass interference, pass interference. There's no such thing as pass interference on punts. Because the punt returner, you're allowed to physically grab and hold and all that kind of stuff with that gunner all the way down the field. So if you throw a pass, I don't know you throwing a pass. It's not like I'm playing defense. I'm guarding the guy from going to tackle my punt returner. But even that, as someone who is a core special teams guy, the punter should have looked out there and saw that guy was in press coverage and kill the play and punt the ball. Now, if that guy was off coverage or he was bailing, then throw it. But that guy never bailed. He was standing in front of his face. On the onside kick, go back and watch. At the end of the game, when Brandon Aubrey kicks the little watermelon kick to Kyle Pitts comes up before the 10-yard marker and jumps on the ball. If Marquise Bell does what he's supposed to do, go back and watch the play. The ball pops out. The ball pops out. He didn't cleanly catch that. The ball pops out and is sitting out in the open on the side of Kyle Pitts and could have been recovered. But Marquise Bell ran past the ball. Incredibly undisciplined team. And what you're seeing now on Sundays, you're just seeing, you know how you have a gender reveal and they tell you, oh, it's a boy, oh, it's a girl. What you have on Sunday is the reveal. The game was already lost. They lost a game Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It just got revealed on Sunday. That stuff that you're seeing, the undisciplined, the poor alignment, the poor technique, the missed assignments, all that stuff, that's because you don't practice well. So when you don't practice well and you got to repeat practice and coaches consistently saying that y'all are having bad practices and you can't pick up the basics, I don't know how many more basics that we can go. That's all you hear. We got to get back to the basics. Assignment, alignment, football. Guys have to pay attention. The game was lost throughout the week. And that is a clear indicator that you have lost your locker room. It's one thing to be, oh, we lost the game because they just were better than us. It's a whole other thing when you have 7 pre-snap penalties, when you have 12 guys in the huddle, when you have 10 guys on the football field on defense, when you are running into each other, when you have poor spacing on routes, when you're not blocking the guys. Jake Ferguson had a play where a screenplay where if he just blocks the guy for a second and then releases him and turns around, touchdown. Kevontae Turpin, if you can just don't run too close to the side around the bounds, touchdown. It's the consistently little things that you're not doing that you should be repping during the week of practice that are kicking your butts on Sundays. The football team is not good enough man for man to go out there and win football games with those levels of mistakes. They're not. They're not talented enough for that. And you don't have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback to erase those things. This team is bad. I said this on Sunday. This team is built bad. It's coached bad. They play bad. It is bad from top to bottom. There's no accountability. There's no leadership. There's nobody leading anybody on this football team. And no one can say anything to anybody. Because everybody is BSing in practice, not properly watching film, and you have a bunch of guys who don't hold themselves accountable first. And then the leaders of the team don't hold everybody accountable because your coaches don't hold everybody accountable. Hell, your owner won't even take accountability for the things that they do. It is a lack of accountability all levels of this team. And the results are happening on Sunday. And that's why this team, both offensively and defensively, find themselves, if not last, near the bottom of the league. But we'll see. We'll see what the future brings. No quarterback, no number 1 wide receiver. We'll see. All right, man. That's it for your boy Jay Holley. Remember, believe in the Cowboys on the Believe Network. Hit me up, hit up on YouTube. Like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Apple, Spotify. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. And yeah, man, go out and vote. And hey, keep praying for the Cowboys because this season's got to get bleak. It's about to get ugly, man. All right, man. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.